They told you Poseidon was the god of the sea. They told you he ruled the oceans with a trident in his hand and storms at his command. They made it sound like a gift, like power, like destiny. But here's what they didn't tell you. Poseidon didn't choose the ocean. He was banished to it, exiled, given 70% of the world, and lost everything that mattered. Because the sea was never a kingdom. It was a prison with waves for walls. And the god who ruled it, he spent eternity trying to break free. This is the story they don't want you to hear. Not the sanitized version where Poseidon creates horses and answers prayers. This is the truth about what happens when a god is cheated, when a brother is humiliated, when power without respect turns into something far more dangerous than any monster. This is the story of rage that became legend, of a king who drowned the world because he could never rise above it. This is Poseidon, not as they taught you, but as he truly was. It begins after the war. The Titanomachy, 10 years of blood and cosmic fire, gods against titans, children against parents. And when the dust settled, when Kronos lay defeated and the universe needed new rulers, 3 brothers stood victorious. Zeus, Hades, Poseidon, equal warriors, equal victors. They had fought side by side, bled together, nearly died together. Now came the time to divide the spoils of war, to determine who would rule what. And this is where everything breaks. They drew lots, a cosmic dice roll, straws pulled from Zeus's hand, because of course it was Zeus who held them. The sky, the underworld, the sea, 3 realms for 3 kings. And Poseidon watched as Zeus drew first, watched as his younger brother's hand emerged holding the heavens. The throne of Olympus, the lightning bolt, the crown that meant king of gods, not king of sky, king of everything. And Poseidon felt something crack inside his chest, something that would never heal. Hades drew second. The underworld, dark, yes, grim, certainly, but necessary. The dead need a shepherd. Death needs a master. There was purpose in those shadows, meaning. Hades nodded and accepted his realm without complaint, already walking toward his throne. Then came Poseidon. Last to draw, last to choose. Except there was no choice left, was there? Only the ocean. Only the vast, empty, forgotten depths, where nothing grows and no one lives, except creatures that can't even see the sun. They called it fair. They called it fate. But Poseidon knew the truth. Zeus had rigged the lots, or if he hadn't, the universe had. Either way, the result was the same. His younger brother sat on the throne of creation, while Poseidon got water. Endless, meaningless water. You rule the seas, Zeus said, smiling that golden smile. 70% of the world. But percentages don't matter when no one can see your kingdom. When every prayer rises up, always up to Olympus, to the sky, to Zeus. And Poseidon descended. Down from the mountain, away from the marble halls and the feasting gods. Down to the depths where the light doesn't reach. He took his trident, a weapon forged by Cyclopes, a tool of earthquakes and tsunamis, and he stabbed it into the ocean floor. The earth shook, the seas churned, and somewhere in that moment, something in Poseidon transformed. He wasn't just angry, he was becoming rage itself. The kind that drowns cities, the kind that lasts forever. You need to understand something about the Greek gods. They weren't distant. They weren't abstract forces of nature sitting beyond human emotion. They felt everything. Jealousy, pride, humiliation. And Poseidon felt all of it, amplified by immortality. Imagine being angry forever. Imagine resentment with no expiration date, no therapy, no growth, just an eternal loop of "I deserved better," echoing through centuries. That's what lived beneath the waves, not a god of water, a god of bitterness given an ocean to pour it into. His first act of rebellion came quickly. The mortals were building a city, Athens, a jewel of civilization, perched on the coast where sea met sky. And the city needed a patron god, a protector, a deity to worship above all others. Poseidon saw his chance. This could be his. A city that loved him more than Zeus, that prayed to him first. He arrived with an offering. He struck the ground with his trident, and from the rock burst a spring. Water in a parched land, life itself. Surely they would choose him. But then Athena appeared. Zeus's daughter, born from his head, the golden child of Olympus. She offered an olive tree, just a tree, not a miracle of water, but a simple plant with silver leaves, and the mortals chose her. They chose the tree over the spring, chose wisdom over power, chose Zeus's daughter over Kronos' son. The city took her name. Athens, not Poseidonia, Athens. And Poseidon stood there, watching them celebrate her, watching them build temples to her glory. And something inside him shattered completely. What they don't tell you in the sanitized versions is what Poseidon did next. He didn't accept defeat gracefully. He didn't bow and walk away. He flooded the Attic plain, drowned the crops, sent waves crashing through homes, pulling children into the depths. Because if he couldn't be loved, he would be feared. If they wouldn't worship him, they would remember him. Every time they saw the ocean, they would know, that is not your friend. That is the god you rejected, and he is not forgiving. This became his pattern, his signature. Rejection, then retribution, over and over across the Greek world. When the Trojans refused him payment for building their walls, he sent a sea monster to devour their people. When the Phaeacians helped Odysseus, a man Poseidon was actively tormenting, he turned their ship to stone and buried their harbor under a mountain. He didn't forgive slights. He weaponized them. Every insult became a natural disaster. Every no became a drowned fleet. The ocean wasn't his kingdom. It was his arsenal. But let's talk about Odysseus, because this is where Poseidon's rage becomes almost poetic. Odysseus blinded Polyphemus, Poseidon's son, a cyclops living in a cave, eating travelers, not exactly Father of the Year material. But he was Poseidon's child, and that made him untouchable. So Poseidon pursued Odysseus for 10 years, 10 years of storms, shipwrecks, watching his men die one by one. Why? Not justice, not fatherly love, but because Zeus loved Odysseus, Athena protected him. And Poseidon couldn't hurt them, so he hurt what they cared about instead. This is the truth about Poseidon's myths. They're not about the sea. They're about Zeus. Every flooded city was a message to Olympus. Every drowned hero was a middle finger to the sky. Poseidon couldn't challenge his brother directly. Zeus held the lightning, held the throne, held the cosmic order itself. But he could make Zeus watch as the mortal world suffered. He could turn the ocean into a weapon Zeus couldn't control. He could prove that 70% of the world belonged to him, and in his realm, Zeus was powerless.